Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the channel today here at Big Obel Media for a special interview. As you see, I'm not alone, and I have the pleasure to talk to a multi-talented actress. I mean, so many things we're going to talk about, but she really has been super active. Projects coming up very soon. A big project getting ready to premiere at Tribeca this year, and we're here to talk about it all. I am here with Deepti Gupta. How you doing today?
I'm good, Najir. How are you?
Very, very good. Very good. I want to start off by saying, first of all, congratulations. Indian Sweets and Spices is going to be premiering at this year's 2021 Tribeca Film Festival, which is a huge deal. The festival is going back in person, so you actually get to go there, which I hear you already are on location. Is that true?
No, I will be tomorrow.
Okay. Yes. But nonetheless, you will get to be there with the fans, being able to see it for the first time. And I think that's an awesome feeling for all the people I talked to during the pandemic, you know, and all the hard work everyone put in. The first thing they said was like, I wish I could experience with the fans, and you're getting that opportunity at one of the biggest film festivals. So how are you taking it all in with that being said?
Oh my God, it's exciting and it's unnerving. I've never been to Tribeca before. It's my first time, even though I lived in New York before. And Tribeca is celebrating its 20 years, and I'm celebrating my 20 years in America. So I'm like, and I'm really looking forward to watching the film with an audience. I've watched it at home with my husband. It's different.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to seeing how things land and how people respond. You know, a film really takes flight with the audience.
Yeah.
And so I'm looking forward to that.
So I guess to kind of give a little bit of a cheat here. Well, what was your reaction watching it with your husband, seeing it back? That was going to be my first question. Is that, have you seen it? So yeah, what was your reaction in seeing it?
It is so hard as an actor to watch yourself, first of all, because so many things, your vanity takes over and ego is deflated. And you're like, oh, that's what it looks like. Oh, that. So I had to just kind of get over that. I was really pleasantly surprised by how effective the story is and how it really flies off the screen. And my husband really enjoyed it. He's not Indian, and but we've been married for a while, so he knows the Indian culture, and he was just really like, oh yeah, those aunties.
I'm glad you brought it up. Listen,
every culture, every community, every ethnic group has aunties.
Yes.
And they the thing that I appreciate about this film really is like the part that I got to play Bhairavi. As Bhairavi, I'm an auntie too, but aunties come in all shapes and sizes and histories. Yeah. And I feel like in the media, we only get to see the aunties that are gossipy and bitchy and all of that, the stereotypes. I'm not saying those stereotypes are not true, but I feel like we forget to look past them.
Yeah.
And in this film, in playing Bhairavi, I feel like we meet a different auntie.
Yeah.
And I think we need more of those in every community and every culture.
I'm getting ready to throw my notes away because you done nailed like 3 of my questions already. And honestly, that I wanted to talk about the stereotypes because there was a lot of things that I was like, I'm not familiar with the Indian culture or the Indian American culture, but I do know about the stereotypes of Jersey, which is where the film is set. So I'm wondering, like, how much of this is something that you can say that you're familiar with and some of these stereotypes that we've seen, and how much of it is this really part of the comedic factor to it. And I do gotta really tip my hat to you about how this film does have those stereotypes, whatever they may be. Either I know them or I don't know them, but we do look past them and we do tackle some really, really serious things in the film, and it's just delivered in a beautiful way, which is why, like, at the end of the film, I was like, whoa. I was kind of like, I didn't see this film going in this direction of that sort. You know what I mean? So, but let's talk about the stereotypes a little bit. Like, how much is that is just feeling for the community factor, or how much of that do you really could be like, yeah, I resonate with that. I've been down that road.
It's a mix. Honestly, I feel like there is an element of heightened kind of stereotypes for comedic effect, but we find them effective because they are grounded in reality.
Okay.
And that said, I really do believe that, and I've come to really understand that behind the stereotypes is the human being who we forget to look, because also the human being perhaps themselves have forgotten to look at themselves and have gotten lost, right? And so I've really been thinking about the South Asian aunties and that whole phenomenon and how it came to be, like how come, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like it has to do with the patriarchal societies we're a part of, whether you're in India, in America, I feel like it's all over the world. And sometimes the things that aunties do are ways of navigating and surviving that patriarchy.
Yep.
And after a while, they just become this vicious circle that the aunties just cannot get out of.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, if I'm in it, I'm going to rope you in, and I'm going to rope you in, and we're all going to be in this. And if I have to play by these rules, you're going to play by these rules. You know? But really, I think ultimately it's a question of not having enough agency and not feeling like they have enough of a voice to be authentic. Yeah. Because it is so difficult to be authentic in our world sometimes, and so much societal pressure, that I feel that these stereotypes exist for a reason. I think they're pointing to something that needs to change, but that they are really grounded in reality.
And I'm glad you said that, because that was kind of my hint towards it. That's why I thought like you did all the fluffing in the beginning, and then towards the end of this film, where you start seeing people holding people accountable for things.
Yes. This
is where you start saying like, well, this is how we progress to be better. Like, let's just get all the dishonesty out and whatever, and let's move forward. And that's what I got from it. And I did enjoy the fluffiness. Like, this is why, even in my review, I was like, I would have been perfectly okay with this being in a series too, of each episode being away. But I'm at very bare minimum, like, where do we go from here? I want to see more. I want to see more from these characters. There's a lot that could be done, considering that your main character went to school, and her interest is potentially going there too. And then you still have your family who's still there now, accepted into the community. And then the difference is your character made, along with I can't think of her, but the mother. Like,
Sheila.
There's a lot that could be done. So I'm excited, like, for other people to check this out, because I think a lot of people will really pull good messages out of it too. I mean, the strong presence of feminists in it, I just was blown away. I love that angle. I didn't see it going that way, but I loved it. But I just instantly, I'm just gonna say, and because I know you're in there with everybody, I'm just gonna put it out there saying, like, we instantly need to be thinking, what's beyond this? We need a miniseries, or we need another film. I want to know where the characters are doing. I want to know what everyone's doing.
That's a good question for Geeta. When I see her next, I'll ask her.
Yes. But no disrespect to the cast, and I thought Sophia Ali's character does a fantastic job. But the moment your character is introduced, you steal the show. I'm not even being biased, because I tell you, with all the families, with all their razzle dazzle, it's easy to see that. But the moment that your character comes to the party, it's like, and I don't even think it's the cinematography. I just think it was just your presence. And you can tell, like, oh, there's a certain essence to this character that's going to change the trajectory of this film. And that's what happened. I was just like, I see it, but I did not know it was going to go in this way. It was like the unwanted guest was the reason and like you got blamed essentially for making it all start, which was the change for the good. Which was like,
I mean, it happens, right? The outsider, not even the outsider truly, but it's like it's the person who holds on to their values against the societal pressure. It is not easy.
Yeah. It
is very hard to, be part of a group and then say, no, I'm not going to do things how you're doing. I'm going to stand outside. And to me, it reminds me of this crow story. I don't know if you know, but I grew up with this story where there's a crow, and somehow the crow thinks, oh, I'm a swan. I want to be a swan. And so he goes to the swans, and the swans are like, look at you, you're not a swan. So the crow goes and rubs itself on the stone, and it's like,
Yeah.
and goes to the swans, and swans are like, are you kidding yourself? So the crow goes back to the crows, and the crows are like, you're not part of us, look at you. And so this kind of place of in between. And I find that really fascinating in all stories of characters and stories of people that are kind of on the margins and are part of different worlds.
Yeah.
And also neither world.
Yeah.
At the same time.
Okay. Yeah. So really quickly about the title here,
Yes.
Indian Sweets and Spices. Now, is this film title paying homage to the store in LA? Or is this
a very political question you're asking?
Okay.
Only because, honestly, to be honest, I don't know the answer.
Okay.
I don't know the answer. I don't know how they arrived at the title of the film. There are grocery stores in LA called India Sweets and Spices, but I don't know that it's in connection to any store. I think for me, it's, the story is about Indian culture, South Asian culture, and it has sweets and it's spicy. You know what I mean? Like it's catering you both at the same time. And there's just this explosion that happens when sweet and spices come together. And I feel like that's our film.
Yeah. Okay. So back to Sophia's character, who is our lead here. Mm-hmm. With her, really coming into her career, and even this character kind of coming into her own, with you having so much experience and obviously a good relationship with the creator of the film, how much influence did you have on making this character? Because I feel like this character is, should I say, more like a stone kind of crafted by different people and different ideas brought together, instead of it just, to be honest, I don't think I see this character being written just one way one time. I'm thinking like there must have been more of a mixing bowl of people coming in saying like, you know what, it's important that she crosses this path and this or whatever, because she goes down a journey. It wasn't just about love. It wasn't about the, at times the not having the acceptance of her peers. At one point it seemed like she didn't have self-love, and then like the acceptance of her parents, and then it was just a journey of just discovering. I feel like that's a lot of other people's testimonies being put into this. So I was wondering how much of you was in this.
I mean, Geeta has been working on this script, or had been working on the script for a while. I remember going to her apartment and doing just like a group of friends were like, hey, I've written something, let's read it out loud. And then once she got the Nichols Fellowship, then it was like, boom, it was, off and running. To the point I didn't even know the film was being made. I found out because they decided that they wanted to do a table read for the producers before she went to Atlanta to shoot. And Sophia was the only actor in town. And so Geeta asked a bunch of us, her friends, to come and do the table read.
Yeah.
And so I did, and I read Pairavi's part then. And the role was already cast with somebody from India who was going to do it. And in the meantime, I had gone to India because my parents were not well. And I come back to my agent saying, hey, you have this audition for this film. And I'm saying, what? I thought what's happening? This is Geeta's film. So I text her and she's like, oh yeah, we're having some visa issues. We're just collecting some backups. So I was like, okay, well, I'll do it. And I did my self-tape, and 2 days later, the part was mine. So, but that's just a separate story from what you asked me. In terms of Sophia's journey, or the character Alia's journey, I am sure a lot of people have had influence, but I also feel like Geeta, who grew up in the US as an Indian American woman, there's a lot of, I'm sure, influences of her own childhood, of her own growing up, that's part of the film. She also is not someone who follows the narrow path. So, there's a rebelliousness to her as well. So I feel like that's reflected in the film.
Yeah. Amazingly said. I thought Geeta did a fantastic job in this film. I'm just going to have to just say that you're not a backup. You should have been there day one.
Listen, I am
sorry,
happy.
Geeta, but
I'm happy. No, I thank you. I take it. I receive that. I'm just happy that I'm here. And sometimes things work out, and it's the old adage: if it's meant to be, it'll find you. And this part really did find me.
Yeah. So, because this film is going to be in the spotlight narrative, typically films that are in this category, they are built or derived with a strong and powerful message. So you've seen it, like you said, and you watched it with your husband. So what would you say is the one message that you either looked over to him and said, or ultimately you just want fans to be able to pull from this? What's that one thing that you want them to take away from this?
Parents have a big responsibility when it comes to raising kids. And I feel like the thing that this film does beautifully is show how these secrets and lies that we hold are detrimental to our kids' growth.
Oh, yeah.
And so when people are watching this film, I hope they not only see an Indian American family, an Indian American community, but they see that themselves in it, and the secrets they hold from each other within their family or from their kids. Because I feel really the more open we can be with our kids, the more we can empower them to be okay with the truth.
Yeah.
And the less we're okay with the truth, the more we come up with all these ways to cope with it that are unhealthy.
Yeah.
And it is such a gift to our kids to be able to tell them what their truth and their ancestral truths are. So I hope that when people watch, they learn to look past the stereotypes and let go of the secrets and lies.
That's beautifully said. So, because of doing my research for this, I know during the pandemic, which has been a challenging year for all of us, but you stayed busy and, beyond, picking up new work and new crafts, I seem to kind of find a norm with you. It seems like you're always up to doing something new. Like if it makes sense, you're like, all right, I'll try it out. And, maybe you'll love it. You'll continue to do it. Just like the audiobooks, right? So I do know you got some projects coming up where you'll be doing some voice acting for anime show, which is a big deal, huge deal, matter of fact. But is there anything else that could be kind of looming that you're kind of up for the challenge for? Is it like, because I heard you say in another interview too, like during the pandemic, this was a time for artists and anybody in media to say like, I got to get creative. Things ain't so normal now. So with that mentality, has there been anything else that's kind of flown your way where you're just like, you know what, I want to dive into that?
So I've started writing something, but it's still like a baby. So I don't want to talk about it too much, but I don't know if it's going to be a novel or a film or what it is. I'm really trying my best to let it just breathe and have a life of its own. And I'm working with a friend of mine who lives in Australia. We're starting stages of creating a solo show, a stage solo show. So we'll see how that goes. The one thing that we've learned during the pandemic is there are no guarantees. I just read not even half hour ago of this amazing woman in Mumbai, a casting director, Seher Latif, who I'd met a year and a half ago. She passed away from some health issues, and she was younger than me. It just kind of made me just pause and go, first of all, be grateful for all the things that I do have already.
Yep.
And to know that life can just be, its own thing.
Yeah.
So I'm creating what I can and trying new things because it keeps me excited to do what I do.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
Oh, you put it out there, it's going to happen. You know that. You put it into the universe, and you're going to manifest it. So it's
Thank
it's
you.
coming.
From your mouth to God's ears.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. All right. So one other question I want to ask, and then we're kind of going to wrap up, is that let's talk about the representation in this film. Like, how does it feel to be part of that, to see so many of your brothers and sisters all come together and get this film done? And then again, it's going to be premiering on the grand stage of Tribeca. It's like, how does it, and with everything that's happening in society here, representation is super important. And not just you have a representation here, you're telling a story about strong women, and you're part of that. A catalyst. Your character isn't codependent on anybody. She stands firm on her own. She is a partner at the
True.
store. You know, it's not her husband's store. You know, she's a boss. And that speaks volume. I mean, even coming into the party and commanding that much attention and respect, I think this speaks how big these characters that are in this film, these women, how strongly they're written. And I think it's beautiful. But again, you see your brothers and sisters in this film, and look where it's being debuting at. This is a huge deal. So with that being said, kind of, you know, like, how does it feel to be part of this?
I think for me, it's still slowly dawning what is happening. I feel like once we're there and the screening is happening, it might kind of fully hit me that like, oh my God, this is happening. But to your point, I feel like Black Lives Matter movement, especially what it started last year, is really starting to have an impact. Whether it's just a phase or whether it's going to create some long-lasting impact, I feel like for me, I tend to be skeptical. So I will see how it goes. But I've started to see small movements happen. And for a film like this to be at Tribeca and, you know, all of us on the screen and behind the screen, it is a big moment. I don't know what to make of it. I just hope that this is not the end. I hope that this film means that more stories from minority communities, South Asian communities, Asian communities, all kinds of different ethnic groups become part of our lives. What happens a lot is that when one movie like this comes out, people kind of go, well, you know, we've seen what that culture or what that community is about. And I just want to emphasize that this is just one taste of this large buffet of people. We're all such part of such vast and diverse diaspora that I hope that this is a start of something and encourages other filmmakers and producers to produce films from diverse backgrounds and stories.
Beautiful, beautiful. I'm very excited. I'm definitely gonna have to check in with you in about the end of the week to see how it all goes down.
Please
there.
do.
It's again, folks. This is the film India's Sweets and Spices. It will be premiering at Tribeca Film Festival. It is going to, if you're attending, I will be premiering June 9th, and I believe the following day is when it makes its digital.
June 12th is the in-person screening.
Okay.
And June 13th is when you can watch it at home in the US.
Okay.
Until the end of the festival.
Okay, there we go.
Yes.
Yeah, I checked it out. So, you know,
you're like, I watched it already.
Yeah, all I'm saying, and it's a really good film. I think, you know, I want to encourage people to, much to some of the sentiments you said, is that one, don't be timid by narrative films, because sometimes people hear narrative and they're thinking like, oh, they're gonna preach something to me, and it's nothing. It's nothing like that at all. It's very funny, very charismatic characters. You know, the aunties who are just a group of people who love to gossip, yet, you know, for even their minimum time on screen, they're just so funny. But then, yes, you do tackle into, like you said, truth and honesty and accountability and these things, and really interesting family dynamics. And our lead here, who is just going through an abundance of things, and she just does a fantastic job as well too. So there's a lot of people will probably get different things from it, but nonetheless you will get something. If at bare minimum, if you just are just brain dead, you will get a laugh.
Yes. Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
It's a fun time. So, Deepti, I appreciate you so much for taking time. I honestly want to wish you the most fun, excitement, and luck this week. It's going to be crazy for you. And I don't even know how to prep you for it.
I don't know myself. My therapist said, just take it one day at a time. I was like, okay, that's it. That's all I can do.
But you did the hard work, and it's time for you to be able to see people's responses to it. And I know there's going to be nothing but positivity. So
thank you so much. It was such a pleasure to talk to you.
Absolutely. And thank you so much, everybody, for checking us out. All the information for the screening and for Tribeca will be in the description below. And definitely you want to keep an eye out for her upcoming projects, because like I said, she has not been taking no time off. So you will be seeing or hearing her voice in future projects. So definitely keep an eye out on her socials for that. But again, thank you so much for tuning in, folks, and we'll see you all very soon.